My name is Brianna Enright. I'm a young adult author and have published The Child Called Assassin and The Woman Called Queen. Today I will be reviewing Slathbog's Gold by M.L. Foreman. This is the first book in the Adventurers Wanted series, and it's a book that I discovered when I was in I think it was 8th grade, in the school library when I was working as a library aide. I enjoyed this series immensely, but I decided to do an honest-to-God review on it, and I went back and read it again. Not the whole series, of course, not yet at least, but just this first novel. This is a book about Alex, a young boy who is pulled into an adventure to kill a dragon. He, along with his companions, go into a world unlike any that Alex has ever seen before. And he has to deal with the fact that magic is real, which I think would astonish any of us, even those who still do believe in magic. Especially the type of magic in this world. It's certainly an interesting dynamic, and one that I hadn't considered in my own novels. M.L. Foreman writes Alex is considering where Slathbog's gold comes from to begin with. Very few people who write dragon stories do that, I myself included. And that is something that I found interesting. That shows a moral aspect to this character that we haven't seen in many, many others. No one else in his party thought about where this gold had come from to begin with, only that there was gold and that they wanted it. So Alex is wondering, is it moral to take this gold, even though in the Adventurer's Handbook it does say that once a dragon has claimed it, it's up for the keeps. Anyone who kills a dragon can take it. Despite that, he still wonders if it's okay for him to claim this gold, despite the fact that, they've got to get through killing the dragon first. There are a lot of things in this book that I liked and disliked. The fact that the character is very moral towards what he's doing is one that I found interesting. It's good and bad. Most people, if you're trying to write an accurate character, you have to write it with many layers to their personality. Alex has that, while at the same time still having a very strong moral compass towards what is right and wrong. That's something that's very difficult to do. And it's also very difficult to not make your characters monotonous. M.L. Foreman manages to do that with characters such as Thrain and Archon, which are all interesting and individual in their own way. I struggled with that in my own novels, partially because I'm a young author. I don't have a perfect grasp of what I'm doing. This book is very impressive. I enjoyed it quite a lot. But the thing I noticed is that it's very similar to Tolkien's The Hobbit series, and that guy who doesn't really know what he's doing and doesn't really want to be there suddenly becomes very, very important. So in this book, we have Alex, while in The Hobbit, we have the Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins. And they're very close together. That had me a little bit questioning after I read the Hobbit series. I was realizing, maybe this book isn't as original as I thought. But there are things in and of its own that warrant a good read of Slathbog's Gold, because it's not an exact copy. It's kind of like a fanfic, honestly. It's similar, but different at the same time. It's set in a different world with many different characters. It's a book that I very much enjoyed reading because I am obviously a fan of fantasy. I like writing it, I like reading it. Dragons, in particular, are a favorite of mine, alongside elves. And there are elves in this one. Archon himself is an elf, as is, what is her name? The lady that ends up helping them along the way, one of them. And then there's the Oracle of the White Tower. Oracles are something that is really, really hard to write because they aren't exactly human. They're beings that are generally tied to a god. Yet M.L. Foreman manages to write the Oracle of the White Tower as both human and the Oracle at the same time, which is something that I don't think I'd be capable of. It's very impressive, and I definitely recommend giving Slathbog's Gold a good read. Although it draws some parallels to Tolkien's universe, it's definitely very original. It's something that I quite enjoyed reading and still enjoy, which is something that is difficult to do. When you go back to a series after several years, usually it's not the same as you remember it. You've got that golden, glittering memory that doesn't really make things the way they actually were. Going back and reading Slathbog's Gold, not only was it as good as I remembered it to be, it was better. So I definitely recommend giving it a read, and the link will be in the description, as will links to my novels, because that's what this channel is about. See you guys. Thank you for tuning in.